thought this was supposed to be a math video. What's with all these words? 3 times a number is 5 less than 6 times the number. That's just an equation written out in words. So let's take all these words and turn it back into an equation. We're going to turn these words into math because I like math a lot more than words. Words are just confusing. All right, and the way we're going to do that, well, we got 3 times a number. We don't know what the number is. That's what a variable is for. So we're going to go ahead and write down our variable. We'll choose n for number, and we'll remember what the n stands for. So 3 times a number is just 3 times n. Is means equals. And then 5 less than 6 times the number. Uh-oh. Is that 5 minus 6n? Or is that 6n minus 5? Now, when I'm not sure, I just pick a number and stick it in and see which one actually works. So imagine I picked 1 as my number. 5 less than 6 times 1. So 5 less than 6 is just 1. So now if I put 1 in both of these, if I put 1 in here, I'll get 5 minus 6. That's negative 1. That's not right. Here, I've got 6 times 1 is 6, minus 5 does give me 1. So that one, yeah, that makes sense. 6 times the number, 5 less than that. 5 less than 6 times the number. All right, we got it. 6n minus 5 goes over here. Now I have an equation to solve. I've turned all these words into this simple equation. We know how to handle this. We'll start off by subtracting 6n from both sides, get all the variables on one side. That'll give me negative 3 times n equals negative 5. And now I get n by itself by just dividing by the negative 3. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So I get n equals 5/3. Now, that's kind of a weird answer. So we're going to go back and check it. It's one of the nice things. Always at the end of your word problem, you can go back and put the number back in the problem and check it. So I'm going to take 5/3 and put it in here. 3 times 5/3. 3 times 5/3. Of course, the 3's cancel, and that leaves us 5. So over here, we want 5 less than 6 times this. Well, 6 times this, 6 times 5/3, got a common factor of 3. Here we can cancel out. 2 times 5 is 10. And sure enough, 5 less than 10 is 5. So this checks out, it works, and we've got the right answer. And this is going to be our strategy for most of these word problems. We're going to start off, we're going to define a variable right up here, then we're going to turn all these words into an equation, and then we solve the equation, and we check our answer. All right, let's try another one. Oh, that's a lot more words. All right, so Shannon's going to add 20 to her favorite number and divide by 7. Gets the same thing as when Eric divides his favorite number by 6 and adds 3. But they have the same favorite number. All right, so we've got a variable. We don't know what that favorite number is, but n, once again, is our number. And that's Shannon's favorite number and Eric's favorite number. So let's see what Shannon's going to do. She's going to add 20 to her favorite number. She's going to start off with her favorite number, add 20, and then divide what she gets there by 7. So she's going to divide this whole thing by 7. She's going to add the 20 first and then divide the sum by 7. Now she's going to get the same result, so that means equals, as when Eric divides his favorite number by 6. So the first thing Eric does is divide by 6, and then he adds 3. Now notice over here the 7's divided into the 20, but over here the 6 isn't divided into the 3. You always, I like to check my equation before I go ahead and solve it. Go back and look at the problem, make sure that I've actually converted it to an equation correctly. Adds 20 and then divides by 7. That's what we're doing over here. Eric divides by 6 and then he adds 3. All right, so we have an equation here. We know how to tackle this. First thing I want to do is wipe out the fractions. I'm going to multiply both sides by 42. And that'll get rid of the 7 and the 6. And then I'm going to multiply this side over here by 42. All right, so here I've got a common factor of 7. Cancel those out, and I'll have 6 times n plus 20. Then I'm going to distribute. 6 times n is 6n. 6 times 20 is 120. Now over here, I'll distribute 42 times n over 6. Well, 42 over 6, that gives me 7. That's just going to give me 7n. Then I'm going to have 42 times 3. 42 times 3, 40 times 3 is 120. 2 times 3 is 6. So that gives me 126. Now I can subtract 6n from both sides. That'll get me n all alone over here. And I can subtract 126 from both sides to bring all the constants back over here. And I'll get n equals -6. That's a weird favorite number. We better check our answer. So put our answer back into the problem. Shannon adds 20 to her favorite number. 20 plus a -6, that's 14. And then divides by 7. That gets her 2. Now let's see what happens with Eric. Eric divides his favorite number by 6. So 6 divided into -6, that gives -1. He adds 3. That also gives us 2. They have the same favorite number. They get the same result. Our answer is correct, and we're done.